Hi everybody, this is Hero from the Birds back with another Shadowlands video. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at Protection Warriors for 9.2, specifically the tier sets for our 2-piece and our 4-piece alongside the double legendary effects that we are going to have access to. Here are the bonuses that are offered to Protection Warrior. Our 2-piece, consuming 30 rage grants a stack of Outburst. Upon reaching 8 stacks, your next Shield Slam or Thunderclap are 200% more effective, or your next Ignore Pain is 50% more effective. Pretty significant given that we can spend rage at a reasonable pace. As a Protection Warrior, I think Shield Block is 30 rage, Ignore Pain is about 40. We can press these buttons fairly regularly defensively. Obviously we can fill with our Revenge if you want as well to spend incoming rage. Routinely, because Ignore Pain is off the GCD, you will be filling out this button as we build to max rage in order not to overcap it. So it's a pretty reasonable interaction, and this gives us 200% more effective Shield Slam, Thunderclap, and then Ignore Pain. And what effective means, we're not entirely sure, but since Shield Slam generates rage and does damage, the thought is it will increase both sides of it. And also Thunderclap generates rage, slows, and does damage. The idea is this bonus one will do all three of those things. So instead of generating 15 rage, it will generate 45 rage, because that's 2 times or 200% the effect of Shield Slam, and it will increase the damage by a multiplier of 2. That's pretty significant, guys, given that Shield Slam in single target is a pretty important button, and Thunderclap as well. I think obviously in single target we want to make sure that we're using Shield Slam, or I guess Ignore Pain if there's some serious problem going on, but generally that's probably the best bang for your buck, because at 45 rage generation instead of 15, which you would get for Thunderclap, it's pretty awesome. Our 4-piece Avatar increases your damage dealt by an additional 10%. Avatar instantly grants 8 stacks of Outburst. So Avatar is an interesting button now for Protection Warriors. And the reason for that is that Avatar is a 1.5 minute CD, and there are some abilities that interact with cooling this down and giving us more access, including Anger Management and obviously the Venthyr Covenant. So if we select, where is it here? Oh, that's Glory. Sinful Surge, excuse me. If we select Sinful Surge, whenever we are specifically in an execute window, if Avatar is up, every cast of Sinful Surge is going to generate an extension of Avatar. That's 10% more damage. From a Protection Warrior point of view, adding passive damage to your raid is pretty awesome. And maybe we're not on, the Mad Paragon Venthyr plan that Protection Paladins are on, but nevertheless, this is, at least for what we're getting as a Prot Warrior, pretty significant. It's also going to immediately give us 8 stacks of Outburst, so every time Avatar is pressed, you immediately get a super Shield Slam. So, I mean, the DR is not bad also. It basically means if we can maintain Avatar during an execute window, often the most important part of a fight, you are also taking 10% less damage in general, which is pretty awesome. So, I see there are some opportunities here, as I mentioned, with Venthyr to extend Avatar and give us access to it, with Anger Management to make sure it goes further. But I should have also mentioned that what we also get access to is double legendaries, Sinful Surge and Signet of Tormented Kings, which means that as far as talents are concerned, there is the potential of Ravager being somewhat useful here, because instead of Into the Fray, which we tend to use for the haste benefit, pressing Ravager on a 45-second cooldown is going to generate rage for us, which we can spend in order to get access to our special Shield Slams or Thunderclaps. Generating rage is also, or using Signet is also going to give us access to Avatar casts, which I'm assuming if you proc it with Signet will give you immediately 8 stacks of outbursts, so a pretty huge shield slam, or again, ignore pain if you want. And then obviously we get access to recklessness potentially, which is going to generate a little bit of rage for us as well. Likewise, pressing our avatar button and cooling it down with something like anger management is going to give us access to the others as well. So there's some synergy built in here with Signet in Prot Warrior. Now that we have access to this 4-piece, anytime we get avatar, we are suddenly getting a burst of huge damage and rage generation through shield slam. We're also getting just 10% bonus damage during that window, and we get some DR. So I think there's a reasonable build coming together here. In my mind, Ravager gets better, anger management gets better. I don't think this is something we should put into punishment. Devastator's probably just fine because it's going to give us cooldown, generally speaking, more access to it. And also I think where we might be a little bit GCD cramped if we're casting more revenges in general, or I guess ignore pain's off the GCD, so if we need to dump rage, we can still do it with that. But the idea here is we can turn ourselves towards a more damage oriented style and pump out a lot, especially if execute damage. Does that mean that Venthyr is the only thing we should consider? No, of course not. I think just in terms of damage profiles, probably going to want Nature's Fury still, even if you're running Signet. And I don't think Signet is the only thing you have to run, but I do think that those talent options offer some interesting synergies, specifically Ravager and Anger Management once you get your tier 2 or your 2-piece and your 4-piece. So I think Outburst is interesting. I don't think it will necessitate that a cutting edge raid take a Prot Warrior. Brewmaster is still probably going to do more damage, even though their tier piece at the moment looks abysmal and doesn't really add any more damage at all. It barely even adds any sort of survivability, maybe just a couple of percentages of DR. And you still got to compete, guys, with Prot Paladins, which are pretty close to Brewmasters right now and are liable to get even better due to their double legendary, and their tier set is also fairly reasonable. So happy for Prot Warriors here. This looks like a seamless way to add a bunch of damage into our profile. It gives us some reasons to think about generating more rage, because as we dump it, we get access to more damage. It gives us a reason to care a little bit more about where we get avatar and gaining access to it, but I'm not sure if it's going to push us over the edge. So happy to see it, and hopefully as we get a chance to test it on the PTR, we can evaluate what kind of uptime we get from our avatar. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys again next time.